Stop throwing anything else into your compost pile. Have you ever wondered why you followed the recipe to a T, yet your compost doesn't look anything like the quality in those tutorial videos? Or worse, it's turning soggy and smelling foul. The culprits are often the most familiar, seemingly harmless items right in your kitchen. In this video, I'm going to expose 5 common culprits and show you exactly how to swap them for better alternatives. And honestly, culprit number 4 is going to completely transform your gardening habits. Every week, I share grounded insights on organic gardening and intentional living. Hit subscribe to ensure you're getting authentic, earth-first advice you can actually trust, straight to your feed. The first mistake involves the group of protein-rich foods, fats, and processed foods. We often fall into the habit of tossing all food scraps into the bin, under the assumption that everything organic eventually decomposes. In reality, however, meat, bones, dairy, butter, and greasy sauces are the primary culprits behind severe hygiene disasters. At its core, composting is the act of husbanding a massive army of aerobic microorganisms, including bacteria and fungi. This army requires oxygen to breathe and function. Physically, fats are water-insoluble and possess strong coating properties. When you add grease to a compost pile, it creates a waterproof film around other materials, like dry leaves or tea dregs. This film completely blocks oxygen contact, shifting the pile from a healthy aerobic state to an anaerobic state, also known as oxygen-deprived decomposition. Furthermore, this greasy layer isolates material clumps, preventing the pile's internal temperature from reaching the levels necessary for pathogen destruction. This is when anaerobic bacteria thrive, producing byproducts such as methane and hydrogen sulfide, which emit a signature rotten egg odor. Beyond the smell, animal proteins decomposing under uncontrolled temperatures rot extremely fast, acting as a powerful magnet for rats, cockroaches, and scavengers. This can quickly turn your garden corner into an uncontrollable breeding ground for disease. As an alternative, stick strictly to raw vegetable scrap. Alternatively, if you wish to provide minerals, instead of meat, use washed and crushed eggshells to supply calcium. The second group of culprits is often overlooked because we assume they are harmless. These are starch and sugar. In composting, we need to maintain the golden ratio between carbon and nitrogen and an ideal pH level between 5.5 and 8.0. Items such as leftover rice, pasta, bread, or overly sweet fruits like ripe mangoes, jackfruit, and bananas contain extremely high levels of easily consumable carbon in simple forms, sugar and starch. When you dump a bowl of leftover rice or a few overripe bananas into the compost pile, it is like giving sugar rushes to a hyperactive child. Bacteria and yeast populations will immediately explode. They eat too fast and reproduce too hot, leading to the complete depletion of the pile's oxygen reserves in just a few short hours. Consequently, intense fermentation occurs, producing alcohol and organic acids that cause the pile's pH level to drop drastically. You will notice your compost pile becoming sticky, watery, and emitting a pungent sour smell, like vinegar or spoiled wine. Furthermore, excess sugar is a wonderful gift for ants and fruit flies. If you see ants swarming to build nests right inside the bin, it is very likely that you added too much starch or sweet fruit without proper processing. Instead of dumping a large amount of starch directly, you should break it into smaller portions and mix it thoroughly with dry, carbon-rich materials like fallen leaves or straw to control the decomposition rate and maintain the necessary oxygen balance. If you accidentally add too much sugar and notice a sour smell, immediately add a little powdered lime or wood ash to neutralize the acid, while also mixing in plenty of dry leaves to restore aeration. Next, we must discuss materials that appear natural but actually harbor chemical weapons. The group containing natural antibacterial compounds such as citrus peels, onions, and garlic. This is a controversial topic because many people compost them successfully. However, if you are aiming for the most diverse and robust microbial ecosystem, you need to be cautious. Remember that compost is a living ecosystem where fungal hyphae play a pivotal role in breaking down tough materials like wood and plant fibers. Peels from oranges, lemons, and grapefruits contain high concentrations of limonene, a potent natural antibacterial and antifungal oil used by plants for self-defense. Furthermore, if you keep worms in your compost, these citrus oils and the concentrated sulfur compounds in onions and garlic can burn their sensitive skin, causing them to flee or die in large numbers. This oil also stunts the growth of fungal filaments, which are crucial for breaking down hardy materials like wood and plant fibers. Similarly, sulfur compounds in onions and garlic can kill or drastically reduce beneficial microbes, a fact clearly demonstrated through microscopic observation. If you still wish to utilize these materials, chop them finely and dry them in the sun before adding them to the pile to allow the essential oils to evaporate. Alternatively, the best approach is to compost them in a separate bin designated for plants that are not overly sensitive. Now we move on to culprit number 4, contaminated materials and pathogens, which, as I warned, will completely change how you view garden waste. Many people have the habit of pulling out diseased, wilted, or fungal-infected plants and tossing them straight into the compost pile to tidy up the garden. But this is an extremely dangerous move. Besides pathogens, adding flowering weeds to a cold compost pile is also a mistake, because weed seeds are incredibly resilient and will erupt as soon as you apply the fertilizer next season. This is especially true for weeds with creeping roots or deep tubers, such as nutgrass or Kogan grass. If even a tiny piece of root survives in a pile that doesn't get hot enough, you are unintentionally breeding weeds across your entire garden next season instead of fertilizing it. Home compost piles are typically cold or fail to maintain a steady temperature of 60 degrees Celsius to 65 degrees Celsius for long enough to kill fungal spores and harmful bacteria. Even more hazardous is the use of pet waste from dogs and cats or chemically treated wood. Waste from pets like dogs and cats, which are carnivores, contains dangerous parasites and bacteria, such as E. coli or toxoplasmosis, that can persist in the soil for a long time and harm humans through contact or via vegetable. Meanwhile, industrial wood is often treated with arsenic, chromium, or copper to prevent termites. As it decomposes, these heavy metals accumulate in the compost and seep into your produce. Be firm about excluding these items from your compost. Instead, dispose of diseased plants by drying them thoroughly and burning them for ash fertilizer. This method helps you clean your garden without worrying about the diseases returning. Have you ever accidentally tossed a few wilted plants into your compost? Please share in the comments below, and we will find a way to thoroughly eliminate those pathogens together. Finally, there is a modern trap that many environmentalists fall into: industrial waste disguised as organic matter. We are living in an era of packaging that looks like paper, but is actually an imposter. Glossy magazines, paper with heavy ink, and especially paper cups or fast food containers are often lined with a thin layer of plastic, polyethylene, to prevent leaking. Be particularly careful with those small fruit stickers. They are 100% plastic and will remain in the soil forever. Many people have the habit of tossing banana or apple peels with the labels still attached into the compost bin. As a result, after 6 months, the waste has turned into humus, but these tiny pieces of plastic remain intact, silently releasing microplastics into the vegetables you eat every day. Similarly, bags labeled biodegradable can actually only be processed at industrial facilities with extremely high temperatures. They cannot decompose in a home compost bin. When you add these items to your compost pile, the paper fibers may break down, but the plastic lining will shatter into millions of microplastic fragments that persist indefinitely in your clean soil. Furthermore, industrial inks contain synthetic chemicals and heavy metals that can compromise the quality of the finished compost. Always check carefully by trying to tear the material. If you see a tough plastic film that won't rip apart, absolutely do not put it in the compost. Replace them with plain brown cardboard, black and white newspapers, or uncoated honeycomb paper to ensure your compost remains truly pure and safe for your health. Composting is not just about throwing trash into a bin. It is the process of nurturing a vibrant living ecosystem beneath the soil. If you would refuse a meal because it is dirty or full of chemicals, you should do the same for your army of microorganisms. By eliminating these 5 groups of culprits, you are creating an ideal environment for microbes to thrive, which in turn produces the finest source of nutrition for your plants. Please share this video if you found the information I just shared helpful for your garden. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming secrets about natural farming and green living. Goodbye, and I will see you in the next videos.